Hello everyone, welcome to FF14. FF14. Final Fantasy 14. I decided that I am going to work on the Alliance raid for level 70 on my alt Rin here. I've been doing some work since the last time I really did stuff with Rin. You know, we were doing like Heaven's Word content, the 50 to 60 stuff. The last time that I was like streaming with her, I've gone ahead and just like advanced, you know, all my classes. I'm working on getting the class to level 70. Technically speaking, I have all the way to Endwalker unlocked because I just bought the skip, the Endwalker skip, so that I could just, you know, play as her. And also, partly why I'm doing this is because I have done everything I can on my main Cassandra at this point. I have literally every Phantom Weapon Umbra on her, along with like 750 gear on like most classes. Obviously not on this class, but still. So yeah, it's kind of amazing. Like, at this point I'm logging on long enough to do the freaking Yakhoi quests, and then I have nothing else to do. It's kind of sad. So I thought, you know, we could do some stuff on Rin. This is not a stream because of the fact that it is like 2 in the morning for me, because I just slept like all freaking day long, which you might laugh at, considering that, you know, I was just yawning just a moment ago, because despite all that sleep, I'm still freaking tired. So, but I figured, you know, I wanted to go through the Alliance and normal raids. I feel a little bad because I ended up just finishing the level 60 normal raids off stream, off recording. But I've decided that's fine, you know. So here we are. We're going to be stepping into the level 70 Alliance raid. So I'm here at Kaiton. I don't know how to say it. New King on the Block. Is that the Monster Hunter raid? Or rather trial, level 70 trial. That might be what that is. New King on the Block up there. Cause yeah, that's true. I don't think I have any of those unlocked. I don't think those are, yeah, see, it only unlocked what is like required in order to like get you to the next like story point, which is fine. But yeah, that might be the Rathalos. Doesn't matter. We're gonna do this instead. Dramatis Personae. Keaton knows of someone seeking your acquaintance. I'm hoping that we'll be able to get into some of these raids. It is stupid late, so welcome, lady. There's a young maiden here who would speak with you. There she is. Miss, the adventurer has arrived. She's been looking for me. Here she is, separator of both Doma and Alamigo in the flesh. I'm Lena Murila, correspondent for the Raven. You may recognize me from my expose on the secret lives of the homunculi. But enough small talk. It's not for nothing that I've been standing here since yesterday morning on the off chance you'd pass by. Huh? Alright. No, I'm here because, actually, it's best you heard it from Alma. I am but an observer. Alma, come! I found her! I love Alma. She's so pretty. Is this the adventurer of whom you spoke? Indeed it is. Please, I beg of you, find my father. You are his only hope. It's alright, Alma. We are attracting unwanted attention. Might suggest a change of venue. We'll await you before the Prima Vista. The theater barge has a berth at the airship landing. I figured this is, you know, with the Ivalice Chronicles out and me waiting on buying it for when I have money, this could work as a good secondary, you know? So, because this is the Ivalice storyline. Don't remember if it's... I think it must be up. However, before I go anywhere... oh yes, these are solid, okay. You never know what's solid and what isn't in this game. That's like my one complaint. Well, it's not my one complaint, but that's probably like my biggest complaint. Is I'm just never fully certain what actually counts as like a solid object that I can walk on and what doesn't. So but yeah, it looks like we've got to go up, which is fine. I just didn't want to go up and then have to go down. So I got stuck. As I said before, I think it's better we continue this conversation in the privacy of the young lady's barge. It's not that I don't trust anyone here, simply that I don't trust anyone here. Gate guard Minagumo has been instructed to look out for you. In future, speak with him when you wish to gain admission to the docks. As is typical, you know, that's how you get into each area. Here's the shuttle pilot that will actually take us to the Prima Vista. That is it right over there. Thank you for coming, Ren. You're probably wondering why I've summoned you to an airship, and a Guardian one at that. Allow me to explain on the shuttle. The Guardian ship. she didn't explain on the shuttle. But she'll explain now that we're here. The Prima Vista serves as both stage and home to the majestic Imperial Theater Company. Good grief. You can keep that dirk in your drawers. No one here is a member of the Imperial Army, nor are there any spies within the troop. At least, no known spies. Ask anyone and they will readily attest. The majestic Imperial Theater Company are the finest practitioners of the dramatic arts to be found anywhere on the 3 great continents and beyond. They have admirers throughout the Empire and its territories, and even boast a sizable following in Gridania, hence my assignment to their story. It's a little-known fact, outside Garlemald at least, that the late Emperor was a devoted patron of the arts, who supported various theater troupes to the tune of much coin. Indeed, Solus was so enamored of the majestic players that he ordered the construction of this very airship that the troupe might perform in every corner of the Empire. Good old Solus. When his grandson took the throne, however, everything changed. Now all theater troupes, domestic and foreign, must submit their works for approval by the Central Imperial Board of Censors. If a play is deemed vulgar or inflammatory, it is banned and the troupe denied their writs of transit. The worst offenders? Well, they're never heard from again. The policy has effectively left playwrights with one of 2 options: compromise their creative integrity to curry favor with his radiance, or put down their quills altogether. The Principal of the Majestic, however, chose a third option, to express his disapproval for the new Emperor's policies obliquely in ostensibly unpolitical works. Pray forgive me for my earlier outburst. I am Almabus Lexentale, daughter of Principal Genomus Sen Lexentale. Mayhap you have heard of my father's latest play, The Zodiac Brave Story? On the surface it is an innocent retelling of a well-known Garlean fairy tale, hardly worthy of the censor's attention, but beneath it is something quite different, a fact the censors failed to spot when they approved the manuscript for public performance. The play quickly became a huge success. The common folk loved its fantastical story, while the learned classes appreciated its true message. By the time the Imperial Board of Censors realized their mistake, it was too late. No longer in a position to prohibit the performance outright without admitting fault, they took aim at the company's purse strings instead. Before long, noble patrons began to withdraw their support, fearing to be associated with the troupe. By the end, even the learned felt compelled to feign ignorance. By bleeding the Majestic of their funding, the censors robbed them of their voice. And none of this has made it any clearer as to why you're here. Right. Allow me, Lena. Hey, it's Sid. I've known Genomus since we were students at the Magitech Academy. When I heard his daughter was in Kugane looking to enlist the aid of an adventurer, I felt compelled to give her your name. Sorry for not announcing myself sooner, old friend. No problem. Genomus and I were from different worlds, but that only served to fuel our friendship. Many were the nights we would prattle on into the wee small hours, warm flagons of peated ale numbing our minds and the others' naive ideologies. Yet no matter where our conversation began, it would invariably end with him telling me how he was going to change the Empire from the inside out. The truth was to be his path into the people's hearts. Even after the Empire forced him from his home, Genomus never gave up hope that his work might change the world. Art will ever straight against artificial bounds and borders, man-made walls and misguided wars. It is in such times of uncertainty that we must needs embrace our calling and take to the skies, so others might do the same. What I'm trying to say, rather poorly I concede, is that not all Garleans are hewn from the same stone. Just as there are those who pledge their lives to the Empire, but never think to question the authority of its leaders, there are those like Alma's father and myself whose love for their country does not blind them to its flaws. Still, try selling that sack of sunflower to an Alamegan or a Doman who has watched his family consumed in the flames of a Magitech Reaper. How many Eorzean adventurers do you think would leap at the opportunity to help an Imperial search for her missing father? And take Garlean territory, no less. But you're different. You've seen enough to know that the line between good and evil is not defined by race, color, or creed. So what say you? I never turn my back on a damsel in distress. I'd make a poor adventurer were I to shy from adventure. Never turn my back on the damsel in distress. Oh, thank you so much. Now that you understand the nature of the task, perhaps Alma could provide some insight as to where we might begin our search. Shortly before my father disappeared, he began to work on his next play, a successor to the Zodiac Brave story. But I am getting ahead of myself. Please follow me. Through adventure and hardship, young Delita, a boy of common blood, becomes a hero, culminating in the birth of the mythical kingdom of Ivalice. But that is where the story ends. There are no records of anything that follows. Was Principal Genomus simply going to invent something? My father believed that he had discovered evidence of a second hero, one whose efforts went largely unnoticed, but without whom Delita would never have risen to the throne. He was the next tale he wanted to tell, the true Zodiac Brave story. A second hero? According to my father's studies, this young man was one of Delita's closest friends in confidence. That is, until the untimely passing of Delita's sister forced the two to part ways. Yes, the unnamed hero continued to provide aid to his friend by thwarting the machinations of those who would scheme against Delita, thus paving the way for the pauper's rise to regent. You must forgive me, but I've never heard anyone make such claims. How exactly did your father come by this information? That is a long story. One which begins and ends with Genomus becoming lost in the very legend he sought to lay bare. Even as far back as our academy days, Ivalice had Genomus firmly in its grasp. He flatly refused to believe the story was just a fairy tale. And so, when he was finally driven out of Garlemald, it was only natural that he should choose this of all places as his refuge. Was it not, Alma? That is correct, Master Garland. It has long been my father's belief that the ruins of ancient Ivalice lie beyond Nagshia, buried beneath the sands of the Dalmasca Desert. Poor Dalmasca. The kingdom prospered in relative isolation for countless generations, until the Empire came calling. When not touring, my father would organize expeditions into the Dalmasca Desert to search for proof of Ivalice's existence. Sometimes he would bring back strange artifacts, ancient tomes, and crystals unlike any others. Orosite! My father called them orosite and claimed they were vital to proving his theories. This is one such crystal. By the 12, it's magnificent! Evolution legend tells of crystals bequeathed by the gods unto those who would be kings. It is during his quest to gather orosite the young Delita rises to prominence. I must have heard this tale 1,000 times from my nursemaid, but that's all it ever was, a tale. My father would often tell us how the orosite spoke to him. At the time, we assumed he was speaking figuratively, that the stone's beauty roused his muse. But then, he began to act strangely. How so? Following our arrival here in Hingashi, my father spent most of his time cloistered in his chambers, poring over his past research, and thought he was alone. And though he was alone, we could oft hear him in conversation. It was not uncommon for my father to recite the lines as he wrote them, but soon became clear that this was something else. It was as if he was talking to my mother who passed several winters ago. Might this not have been out of mere loneliness, or perhaps a strain of your flight from Garlemald? Possibly, but that would not explain the voices which answered him. Oh. And it's him. It's our boy, the ever rude, Ramza. Alma, who are these people? I told you I did not require any help finding father, especially from outsiders. So good of you to join us, Ramza. Allow me to introduce... Enough, Master Sid. We may be shunned by the Empire, but we are still Garleans, and we still have our pride. Unlike some, it seems. We require neither the aid nor the pity of foreign rabble. Have you forgotten where you are, brother? It is we who are the foreign rabble. This land and its customs are all but unknown to us. We'd be fools to conduct our search without a proven guide. Your sister is right, Ramza. As for my good friend here, your mistrust is ill-placed. I personally vouch for her character. In all the time I have known her, she has never once let anything as insignificant as race or creed color her judgment. You are lucky to have her. But we would have you, Master Garland. Why do you refuse us? You know why. Till this affair with Omega is resolved, my hands are tied. It pains me to refuse you and your sister, but it pains me far more to leave Genomus to his fate. I'm sorry. You need not apologize. Let my emotions get the better of me. After what happened in Rabanst, it may be time to admit we're out of our depth. My brother's last expedition met with tragedy in the ruins of the capital city. He barely escaped with his life. The Empire turned Rabanst into a death trap. You are a fool to set foot there without a proper escort. I realize that now, Master Garland, but at the time I saw an opportunity to rescue our father, and I took it. Whatever led you to believe your father was in Dalmasca's capital? My father's fascination with Ivalician legend began with a trip to the antediluvian city long before the war. Call it a premonition, but something tells me that is where he has returned. Now, you must excuse me. I need some time to think. And Alma, I shall leave you and your brother in Rin's capable hands. If she has ever repaid my trust with interest, you would do well to grant her yours. Thank you, Master Garland. We will not forget this kindness. Hello, Ramza. Master Garland seems to think highly of you, so I will withhold judgment until after Dalmasca. You better. Ramza is itching to depart. A city fallen. Dalmasca is nested in a forgotten corner of the Empire's outermost territories. I do not foresee any trouble from the standing army, but would suggest committing to memory the location of each of the barge's exits, just in case. As for the flight itself, the currents above Dalmasca are as wild as the land below. You may want to hold on. Here we go. Quest accepted. And off we go. Just some general chatting. We'll complete our descent to Rabonst in the shuttle. Ramsa, I thought I made myself clear, Alma. The capital is simply too dangerous. Father would never forgive me if I were to lose you trying to rescue him. Come, we are wasting time. Poor Alma. Ramza is a grade A jerk. Like, no question. The royal city of Rabonst. At least that's how I say it. I don't know how it's supposed to be said. I don't know if the Ivalice Chronicles has any, like, voice acting, and thus, like, if they'll say it in that game. So, according to my father, Ivalice was already a thriving city some 1,000 years ago. But after performing several private excavations beneath the so-called Desert Sapphire, my father came to the conclusion that it was not the first settlement to stand here. Then, your father believes Ivalice sits atop the royal city of Lassalia, capital of Ivalice. If that's true, it could change history. It would be famous. Famous? Are you sure you don't mean rich? Your kind are all alike. Parasites grown fat on the sweat and suffering of others. Bold words for a boy of but 16 summers. And what, pray tell, have I done to deserve such spite? I only wish to learn the truth behind the disappearance of the Emperor's foremost playwright. If that should lead to something bigger, well then, I'd be the worst reporter in the realm if I did not pursue it. Something is amiss. Yes, we can argue about this now, or we can return to the Prima Vista and report to our army of adventurers that it is time to begin the expedition. I humbly suggest the latter. Oh boy. You see, it's as I said, brother. Let them come to us. Should we kill them now? No, the time is not right. When has that stopped us before? Fool, do you see that one? Slayer of gods, they call her. Warrior of light. Oh boy. There we go. The royal city of Ivalice, now accessible. Now let's just hope that 1:30 isn't far too late for us to get into this. It probably is. But we'll see. What I do think is that the best option is going to be to pause until we get into the royal city of Ivalice. The average wait time is more than 30 minutes. Good Lord. Suppose that makes sense. It's 1:30 in the morning. Alright, well, I'll be back when we do get into the royal city of Ivalice. Oh my goodness. For all of you, it's been like 2 seconds. For me, it's been 3 days. I'm not kidding. I recorded that first part 3 days ago. We're finally getting into Royal City of Ivalice. I have been waiting in queue for like an hour, like per day, and then just being like, alright, move on. It was 30 minutes today. But yeah, I mean, you can see I've done a little modification to the screen, mostly just to hide the chat. Oh my god, he keeps moving around. Alright. Now, I'm not new to this. I'm just gonna say, I do know, like, the mechanics and things. I've played this all before. Ooh, I don't like it frozen. Because I'm wet. And there's somebody that got frozen. And they just died. I'm not fighting for egg. Indeed. I would highly recommend not fighting for egg. But I mean, people should be aware that, like, I've done all this stuff before, because, you know, freaking, I streamed, I recorded Endwalker, I streamed Dawn Trail. That was all on Cassandra, of course. But the point is, like, I'm the same person, you know? I'm the same Twitch streamer slash YouTuber. Like, I've done all this stuff before. I'm just recording playthroughs because I want to. Plus, this is a cool raid. Plus, I want to, like, go back and redo some of these. Don't bring the frogs to the bubble. Huh? I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, cause the frogs, like, create the bubbles. I didn't even know that there was a... I didn't know that they, like, got rid of the bubbles, too. That's cool. It was not mistaken in its assessment of your skill in battle. Still, I'm worried something even more sinister awaits us ahead. I've not been reading the dialogue. Oops. Seek bandits. It appears the deplorable creatures are here to raid abandoned homes. You aren't supposed to be here. I don't think I, like, had half of those in my desk design there. Oh well. Everybody always tries to group up the chocobos, which is fine, I guess. But, like, they spawn so separately each time, it kind of just makes it more difficult. Oh, crap. This might be bad. No? Okay. Usually, the chocobo drops it over there. Jesus. Can't really LB those. Yeah. But one thing that really makes me laugh is when people will type LB. Obviously, you know, you can't see chat. But somebody will be like, you know, use LB, and it's like, you realize that in the time it takes you to say that, and then for somebody to see it, and then somebody to then actually hit the button and like the skill to go off, like, it's usually too late at that point. Like, if you're not the DPS and you can't LB, that's fine. But like, usually if you're looking and you're like, hey, LB, it's like, usually it's just too late. Like, just leave it. Don't even bother. Like, leave it to the DPS to LB, and if they don't LB, they don't LB. Like, it goes away whether we use it or not. You know? It's not like you would get punished for not using it. I get the idea of like, you know, use LB, it makes it faster, but like, I don't know. I haven't actually felt like LB actually makes things faster. Now, I haven't, you know, the knowledge of the potency of the LBs or anything like that. But, like, when an LB takes, you know, 10 seconds to cast, for example, like, is that more damage? Or does it just seem like it because you see that big chunk suddenly leave all at once? You know? It might actually be the same amount of damage. That's always been my question, like, do we know the potency levels of the different, like, LBs? Because I would be curious to do the math. You know, it's like, oh, this LB does 3,000 potency, okay. But when you use all of your skills together, can you make 3,000 potency in that same time frame? Because you have to not only factor the cast time of the LB, but remember that, like, generally even after the cast bar is done, you're still, like, stuck in position for a moment, and you can't, like, use other skills. So it's like, if it's this 10-second period where you can't use any skills, but the amount of damage that you do is equivalent to what you would normally deal in that 10-second period, right? Like, LB isn't actually better. And I wonder if the whole LB system isn't meant more for those moments of like heals and tanks than anything else, you know? In this dungeon you can LB3 and, like, you know, the tank has to do that in order for the group to survive, or like, you know, the group is almost everybody is dead, and so then you LB3 as a healer. Like, I can't help but wonder if that isn't necessarily the primary, like, use, you know? At least nowadays. Probably back in the day when all of this first came out, it was probably more worthwhile. But I don't know, now, like nowadays, is it? Well, you've got classes like Picto that can drop a single skill that does 1100 potency, you know? On to the Garrus Knife Waterway. These tunnels are said to have existed since before even the Kingdom of Dalmasca was born. As the city grows, channels are widened, new outlets dug. I've heard that some of the pools are so deep, no one alive has seen their bottoms. Again, I'm totally missing to read all the freaking dialogue. Partially because I'm chatting. Also, apparently swimming in general just didn't exist until Stormblood. So like these sections here that I just went through where we were like swimming around, like that just wasn't a thing prior to Stormblood. Which is interesting, just because there's so many areas that like you can swim around, you know. It kind of surprises me. And even some areas that you can't like access without being able to swim. So these ruins are no longer in Rabanasa, my friends. This is Lassalia. That's Lassalia of Ivalice legend. Creatures here are not creatures here are not mere beasts of void scent. Secrets that lie beyond must be ones worth keeping. Hark! What army marches on Rofakale's Demesne? That's a weird word. I've never actually like paid attention to the dialogue before. Which is also like partially why I'm reviewing these, because I remember going through these the first time and being like, what the frick is going on? And I wouldn't be surprised if it's just because I missed like stuff. Get into the figure eight. I will also say, like, I made a comment about the whole, like, you know, enemies moving out of their, like, hitboxes. Yeah, animating out of their hitboxes in Endwalker. And I was like, this just feels weird, you know? But like, they actually do it as far back as this. I guess I had just never noticed. Alliance A. Run over to the Alliance A marker. Ow, frick. Also, here's a fun fact. Keep watch on where this guy goes, because if you run off to the side, you'll actually take no damage. The heavens tremble in my wake. Like, okay, he's gonna go up here, so we want to go over here. And you'll see they'll all take damage. I didn't. Because I dodged. Most people don't dodge that attack because they don't realize you can. Like, you can just run off to the side and just take no damage at all. Whoa, crap. I almost stepped in that. It's okay. I mean, it's just fine. And like, you know, he's right here. It wouldn't have been that big of a deal. Trample! Ugh. Unfortunately, you don't get the, like, dash back ability yet. I mean, you have, like, egress and ingress, but you don't have the ability to, like, hit the button prior, you know? The portal thing that you get later. Is what I'm saying. Yes. Nope, we didn't surpass. People aren't clicking on the dark circles. Admittedly, like, normally you would assume that you stand in it, because that's the norm. So it's really weird that you have to actually click that one. Gonna hit that because it may not be a new adventure, but I got cutscene. Let me try to remind people that, you know, there are people with cutscenes. That feels wrong. Missed everything about that. Yeah, like, I remember this guy showing up and I being like, who is this guy? What's going on? Like, I thought this was Genomus at first. I totally missed that Genomus was, you know, unconscious. And so I was like, who the heck is this guy? What the frick is going on the first time? I'll go Ivalice. I guess Ivalice. Mapping the realm, Rabanasta. Also, in between freaking the first and this, I realized it's not Rabanast. Or however I was saying it. I think I was saying it Rabanst. It's Rabanast. So it might be Rabanaster, but I don't know. Because it's got the ER or RE or whatever you want to call, you know. It might be Rabanaster. But I was saying Rabanst. and just completely missing that there was an A there. So, whoops. Also, you'll notice that it has been days because when we get out of this, I'll be level 73 instead of level 70 like I started it at. Okay. Do the thing. Gotta look away. Swords in the middle, generally. I did not get any swords, so I can't put them in the middle. You usually want to put them in the middle, that way the corners are always accessible at all times. Bring adds to the center. I've always been told middle, not corners, because you want them away from the corners. I don't know why the English localization just hates characters doing that. Don't do it! Don't do it. Stand still. Like, this is why you don't want them in the corners. So that people can get to the corners. Whoops. Apparently I hit something that canceled out of my freaking void center. Whatever. Canceled my blue skill somehow. I'm not entirely sure how. Donuts! Ow. Zodiac Thriller. Somebody didn't set absorb a comet. My body's not my own. What have I done? Oh, it is technically voiced, I think. Oops. Light or a sight? Royal City of Rabanasta complete. GG. Gonna go ahead and loot everything since I don't have any of this on this character yet. I'm still trying to get Ultimate Perfection from the freaking 3rd raid. It's the only one I'm missing. But I want to spend the freaking hundreds of thousands of gil or whatever it is for it. That's a lot of sound effects all at once. That's the point. $129 errors. Where am I? Father! Hamza and the Warrior of Light. Yes, I know of you, but you should come to my rescue. Words fail me. Poor playwright I must seem. Well. The term you're looking for is thank you, upon which note I, Begonnen Bounty Hunter, do humbly thank you, Warrior of Light, for delivering me this fine gift. Now hand over the ore sight, unless you wish to see the desert sands turn red. And be quick, Gijuk here does not have the steadiest of hands. That one! She will bring it to me. For Murilla. Oh, Zodiac symbol. Yes, this is it. The Duma. And to think we found it so close to Dona. The Duma of Dona. Eh? That was a terrible joke. Enough, Boggy. We would not have our guests think us underbred. You have what you want, you thieving lizards. No one hand him. Of course, a Bonga is always true to his word. I'll be keeping this, though. Father! You're only yourself to blame for this. If you mislike the thought, you can always blame the gods. Not that they are listening. Get up, Phil, we're leaving. I like that he gets up. He's like, huh? Oh, I'm actually okay. I'm coming. Ow. That would be the perfect time for the Kremling sound effect from DK64. Going to be alright. Yep. Yep. I cannot see to your father's hurts here. Come on, we must get him back to the Prima Vista. Also, it's been 3 days. If I'm doing completely different voices, well, that's gonna happen. So, because, like, I don't remember what voices I gave each person. Genomus remains deep in slumber, but his breathing is steady, and his fever has subsided. For now, all we can do is wait. I sent word to Sid. I hope you don't mind. Alright then, I gotta remember how to do Sid's voice. Except that I don't remember what Sid's voice is, but it's something like this, I think. Maybe I'll remember it once he actually speaks. I always remember it when it comes time to actually, like, do his voice, you know? Alma, Ramza, can you ever forgive me? And you, Sid, it was never my intention to put you to such trouble. I'm ever in your debt. You would have done the same for me, Genomus. Besides, it was Rin here who went to all the trouble. If anyone deserves your thanks, it's her. I guess that's just what I'm doing now. He is right. I've done naught to deserve your kindness, yet I am its beneficiary nonetheless. So, if I understand correctly, you're saying Orsight does not work to facilitate the possession of a living host by an icon, as was assumed to be the case with the Assail and the Archbishop, but rather absorbs the host's ether, its very soul, and somehow transforms it before returning it to the host's body. If that is the case, our Charlatan allies will need to be informed immediately. But I suppose the real question here is, did you find what you came looking for? Legend would have us believe that Delita Hero, a commoner who would be king, was the sole hero of the Zodiac Brave story. But I have discovered there was another. 2 others, in fact. Siblings whose roles faded from subsequent retellings of the story. A brother and sister by the names of Ramza and Alma. How about that? Then, to prepare for this assignment, I pored over every published work on evolution legend I could lay my hands on, and nowhere did I find any mention of these siblings. But I did. I uncovered irrefutable evidence that Delita had a close companion named Ramza, who aided him in his rise to power. This, in turn, led me to Alma. And that I might never lose sight of the truth, I named my own children after these lost players. I'm sorry I never told you any of this, Sid, but you must believe me. Ivalice has never been a mere pastime of mine. It is and forever will be my calling, my purpose, my family's purpose. Go on. The world knows me as Genomus San Lexentail, yet that is but my stage name. My true name is Aslam Durai. Countless generations past, it was my ancestor who penned the Durai Papers, an account of Ivalice and the War of the Lions that details what truly occurred during the turbulent era. You are tired, Father. Rest. I will continue. Long ago, an orphan by the name of Oren Durai crossed paths with both Ramza and Delita. After Delita's rise to power, Oren found himself in the service of the pauper become king. Following the War of the Lions, Oren believed the people of Ivalice had a right to know the truth of Ramza's involvement, set about documenting his deeds. When the church learned of his intent, however, they branded him a heretic and had him burned at the stake. The Durai papers were never published, and any existing copies were gathered and sealed away in church vaults, the truth about Ivalice along with them. What was so damning that it would drive the church to do such a thing? The answer to that question can be found in this book, the only surviving transcript of my ancestors' chronicle, copied from an early draft and passed down for untold generations. With this, my father and I plan to reveal the truth and restore honor to my family name. Forbidden Chronicles, a secret family legacy. Not that I doubt you, Denomus, but how do you expect to convince people of all of this when well nigh every soul in the realm believes Ivalice to be nothing but a bedtime story? By proving that it is anything but. And when people see that Ivalice was real, the rest will fall into place. For it is simple as bringing forth the chronicle and submitting it for review. We would of course done so long ago, but alas, it is not. The Durai papers, you see, are written in High Ivalician, an ancient tongue long extinct. My father, and his father before him labored tirelessly to decipher this tome, but for want of other sources made only fitful progress. A word here, a phrase there. Was to tell a recent expedition to Rabanster turned up several well-preserved artifacts. They were able to translate a small portion of the papers. Then, the diary stolen by the Bonga bounty hunters? I'm afraid so. Everything we had learned of the language was contained in those papers. Then, we're back to where we started. Not necessarily. We still have the transcript, as well as some few translated passages, and of course my father's impeccable memory. I have come too far to allow so simple a setback to deter me from my purpose. I will show the world the truth, if it is the last thing I do. As it is as Master Garland said, he is a man obsessed, and I fear Ivalice's grip on him will only grow tighter. Father was fortunate to escape Rabanastre with his life, and already he speaks of continuing his quest. Promise me you'll keep him safe, please. Light or sight? To what I have seen here, I'm all but convinced that Ivalice exists, at least in some form. Problem will be gathering sufficient evidence to convince the thousands of scholars and historians who've based their careers on the presumption that it doesn't. Not that I've ever been one to shy from a challenge, especially when it means the story of the century. If you're in, Ren, then I'm in. If you're not, well, I'm still in. Either way, you'll be hearing from me again soon. How much I promise you. Yay! I think that's technically the end of the first chapter. I hope you all have enjoyed. If you did, feel free to subscribe, You can check the playlist. Wait, no, there's... I don't know. Is there a playlist? Oh, wait a minute. This is freaking... This isn't a series. There's other Final Fantasy 14 stuff on the channel. I'll probably link to something. But anyway, whatever. Feel free to come out twitch.tv/SereneInc, where I usually stream live. But I thought this was going to be a quick something I could record on a non-stream day. And it ended up taking several days to do this. So, if I had known that, I would have just streamed it or something. Oh well. In either case, I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye!